Welcome to Wellness Solutions. My name is Arlana. My mission is to help people to connect and communicate with animals in a deeper and transformative way, allowing for understanding and mutual healing to be part of our everyday lives. Hello everyone, Arlana here. Today let's have a conversation about helping these animals that are so anxious, reactive. You just can't seem to get past some of the behavior challenges that are coming up in front of you, even though you're doing everything right and you feel like you're just, working in circles, nothing's sticking. Well, here's part of the problem, and it's probably not your fault, okay? Animals that have high reactivity or are highly aroused, they are accessing the part of their system. When they become upset or aggravated or anxious, they are actually activating their sympathetic nervous system. They're going into an instinctual zone where they're worried for their life. And this is a very strong reaction for an animal to be in, because they're used to being, chased by wild animals, and they get eaten if they don't keep their trauma and their pain hidden. So when they go into this, they access this part of their nervous system, they're going into fear, fight, flight, freeze, or faint. So they're going to have one of these reactions. Their body is going into this zone where they are more working on instinct than they are on the actual surroundings. So what's dangerous about that, and the reason that you're probably not able to train them or move them through the behavior, is because just like us, when we get into an anxious state, overly aroused, we can't think clearly. And when you're not thinking clearly, you're not understanding things clearly, and a lot of miscommunication goes on, and some really dangerous things can happen. I'm going to share with you a very personal story. When I was pregnant with my first child, my family had a Doberman named Angel. And while she was a sweet, loving dog, she was protective of the family. And when I was pregnant, she would come in and sleep at the foot of the bed, and we all thought it was so sweet. She was being so sweet. Well, what should happen? After my baby was born, my brother came bounding into the room to wake us up for breakfast and startled Angel. Now, her first reaction was protection and fear. And she grabbed my brother's arm, and she did about 3 big open and close on his arm and kept him pinned to the bed. And of course, I woke up to the commotion, and I called her name, and I clapped my hands, and she came out of it. And when she realized that her mouth was on my brother, she was so beside herself, like she just let go and sulked down to the bed and melted into a puddle. But she had been startled, and she went instinctually into this place of fear, and her reaction was to lash out. Now, we're really lucky that it wasn't any more serious than it was. Now, my brother did suffer several puncture wounds in his arm, but we learned a valuable lesson in all that as well, because, thinking how cute it was that she was being protective of us, we had to be much more aware of what was going on in the household, and make changes so that everyone would be safe. And it was not her fault. It was oversight on our part. So the point of the moral of the story here, the point I want to make, is that if you're thinking that your dog, when it's being reactive or in fear mode, that you're trying to train it to quit doing that, and you're trying to stop it to do this, and you're trying to do it while they are anxious and upset, there's a really good possibility that they really are not comprehending what you want from them. And if that's the case, they definitely aren't going to remember that the next time you go through it again, because they're in a totally different zone of understanding in protection, fear, flight mode. So you have to be aware of that, and you have to realize just how dangerous it is. And you also have to realize that if you're going to do training, you need to do it when when the animal's not in that zone. These are things that can be done and started and practiced from the earliest parts of training and understanding and building that level of trust. Because if they're looking to you for trust, for guidance, they're looking to you for guidance, then they're going to trust you when you tell them that they can settle, that this is not the correct behavior. Okay? When they're in that high anxious zone, they're not going to understand. They're not going to be listening because they haven't put their total trust in you. They're put their trust in the situation. And we'll get into that a little bit more as we go. But for today, I just wanted to share this with you, because if your animal's not paying attention to you when they're in these anxious zones, it's not your fault and it's not their fault. But you can find ways to show them, to convince them that they're okay with you and that you will keep them safe. And when you get to that point, you're going to find that those big anxious moments are going to subside. And if you do come across a situation that is challenging, that you'll be able to get through it a lot easier. So keep that in mind. I want to share with you, if you would like a copy of my ebook, Understanding Your Pet's Behavior and Transforming Your Relationship with Your Pet, I invite you to send me an email or reach out to me, and I would love to send you a copy of that ebook. And also stay tuned, because pretty soon I'm going to be launching my new book, Guardians of Love, which tells you all about how to interact and create that loving connection with your pet that you've always wanted. So have a blessed day. Enjoy your time with your pet. Blessings. Namaste. I hope you enjoyed today's talk. You can find more inspiring and informative articles on my podcast and in my Facebook group. You can find all the links when you visit my website, wewellness.solutions. Till next time, Arlana.